2006, life felt awesome. I was the loving mom who served green eggs and ham on Dr. Seuss Day. My husband Mark and I savored dinners out topped off by cappuccino and strawberry shortcake. Since I had studied adolescent psych at the Harvard Ed School, I found it especially rewarding tutoring energetic middle schoolers. Exuberant, I began to amp things up. I took on more and more, but didn't give anything up. I started to deteriorate. By February, my mother became very concerned. When I again showed up mid-afternoon at her home unbathed and in my nightgown, she took action. Strapping me into her blue Lincoln, she sped to the hospital. I opened my window and hollered like a 42-year-old toddler, "Let me out of here!" She jerked my seatbelt and grabbed my nightgown. "Calm down," she wailed. Approaching a red light, I flung the door open and tried to jump. At the emergency room, she gasped, "Officer, my daughter tried to jump out of the car." He whisked me out and placed me in a wheelchair. I was on my way to the psych ward. After 5 days, I went home and hugged my family. Time to start over. But I declined. Brutal insomnia kicked in. Desperate, I sometimes took several sleeping pills followed by a shot of red wine. Mark would rock me. "I love you, babe. We're gonna make it." I kissed his cheek. My mind played tricks on me. I hallucinated. Drifting coils lingered above my bedspread, and when I swatted them, they remained. The phone rang when others didn't hear it. Staring into a mirror, I erased my gaunt face and haunted eyes. My friend Gwen called daily. "How are you, love?" "Losing it. Can't read. Nobody knows." "Have you seen the doctor recently?" "No, my hand's on fire." "Maybe it's the meds. Are you taking any of them?" "I'm a burden, Gwen. Quit my job. Want it to end." "Sallie, no. We're sticking together no matter what. I love you." "I love you too." After, Mark phoned. "Gwen just called. I'm coming home." I dropped the phone. Twisting my fingers through the jagged ends of my greasy hair, I wept. I loved him deeply. Touching the various teddy bears on his nightstand I'd given him each Valentine's Day, I wondered, would we survive this and stay together? On March 30th, I totally unraveled. That afternoon, I poured a cup of ammonia. I planned to gulp it all, but I could force down only one sip. It scalded my throat. I fell partially asleep on our living room carpet. 10 minutes later, Mark discovered me. "Sallie, what have you done?" "Cleaning," I lied. Frantic, he called my mother. "I've got to get Sallie to the hospital. Please take care of the kids." I staggered to our bedroom. Kate was at a friend's, but Stephen sat on our bed. I gazed at his blue eyes, but he did not reach for me. I have failed him. I surveyed our bedroom, rows of unopened pill bottles, a snag in the lace curtains where I had hurled some keys. Mark muttered, "I'll be back for you." My mind raced. I yanked open our back door and tottered to my car. I headed east at Hillcrest and Northwest Highway, totally confused. I checked the clock. 4:45. Winding in and out of lanes, I watched for sirens and flashing lights. I contemplated smashing into a tree. By 5:45, completely lost, I swerved into a dilapidated restaurant's parking lot and slammed the brakes. Inside, it reeked of greasy appetizers. Cigarette smoke gagged me. Eyeing me, the bartender asked, "You meeting anybody?" I craved water. my throat still burning. "No, your phone, please." He pushed it toward me. I called Mark. "Sallie, come home. There's a cop here. He summoned a 6-county APB. Sweating, I ran my hand across the scarred counter. I could hear the cop. "Tell her she's safe. Tell her we'll take care of her." Mark pleaded again, and I slammed the phone down. I wobbled to my car and tumbled in. My dilated eyes flashed back at me in the rearview mirror. Why had I left my phone and wallet at home? Because I was in a hurry. Because I couldn't get caught. Where am I? How much further can I go? Then, my deceased father's voice entered my mind. "Sallie, it's not your time. Stop. Turn around." I honked at 2 strangers for directions home. "Hey, you okay?" one shouted. Ignoring him, I turned up the AC. My poison breath nauseated me. Opening the window, I retched and spat. By 7:05, I was near home. I stopped a man walking. "Please, can I use your phone?" 20 minutes later, after calling Mark, I tore into the hospital parking lot. When I stepped out, he tugged me to the ER. I checked my watch. 7:30, 3 hours since swallowing the ammonia. "You're so sick," Mark muttered. Guilt shot through me. By 1 a.m., I was in the psych ward again. The clinician strove to organize my fragmented mind even as my psychosis intensified. Doctors conducted multiple tests, but my diagnosis eluded them. Depression, anxiety, Pick's disease, a severe neurological condition. Visitors came often. My children decorated a poster with candy. "Mommy, we love you mounds and mounds. Have some Laffy Taffy because we love your laugh." After 12 days, I was transferred to the Menninger Clinic in Houston. There, my real healing began. I started to feel hope. Early on, my psychiatrist diagnosed me bipolar I disorder. I froze. Will I get this sick again? Will my children inherit it? "Sallie, I believe you'll stay well. You're a great mom. You'll watch your kids." The next day, my psychologist asked, "What do you want to talk about?" I need to surrender to this diagnosis. I had to accept I'd be dependent on medication and a treatment plan for the rest of my life. No more really late nights, no more overcommitting. I'd need to prioritize my health. I read everything I could about bipolar. In therapy groups, I worked hard to gain skills to stay well. Daily, I received handmade cards and letters. People's love continued to stitch me back together. In a care package, Mark sent lyrics from Blue October's "Calling You." It's something I can't quite explain. I'm so in love with you. You'll never take that away. At my final clinical team meeting, after 5.5 weeks of treatment, my primary clinician hummed "Eye of the Tiger" as I entered the room. I laughed and flexed my muscles. I did feel like I had just left the ring, sweaty and victorious. One nurse said, "You'll be one of our success stories, Sallie." Today, I thrive. I know I'm blessed. My teaching and writing bring joy, and my kids live fully. When my disease emerges, I fight back. I've never been hospitalized again. Family, friends, and faith keep me whole. My rock star psychiatrist is vital. Mark and I share an extraordinary love story. I'm so grateful that no matter what, we stick together.